Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep into the world of AI today.
Ooh, fun.
Specifically, we're looking at a recent article comparing two of the biggest names out there, GPT 4.5 and Gemini 2.0 Flash.
Right.
You guys are probably familiar with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's powered by GPT.
Yep.
But Gemini might be a new name for some of you out there.
For sure, for sure.
It's Google's latest and greatest large language model.
Yeah, it is.
And it's making waves.
Definitely making some noise.
And the really interesting thing here is Gemini is designed to be multimodal.
Right.
So that means it can handle not just text like ChatGPT, but also images, audio, and even video.
That's a big deal.
Right.
Yeah, that opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
For how we interact with AI, exactly.
Exactly.
And this article we're looking at, it really puts these two models through their paces, comparing them head-to-head on a bunch of different tasks.
It's a real showdown.
Yeah, it's a showdown. And the article claims that GPT 4.5 has gotten even better at understanding emotions.
Okay.
And it's also supposedly less likely to have those moments where it just seems to make stuff up.
The hallucinations?
Yeah, the hallucinations. We've all seen ChatGPT do that sometimes, but Gemini's big selling point is its ability to juggle all those different input types, text, images, audio, video, all of it.
It's a true multitasker.
So I'm really curious to see how these two actually stack up against each other in the real world.
Well, the article starts by giving them a classic challenge, planning a weekend getaway to the Catskills.
Okay.
Complete with hikes, restaurants, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds like the perfect escape from the city life.
Yeah, exactly. A little nature, a little relaxation.
So how did they handle it? Did they both pass the travel agent test?
GPT 4.5 really went all out.
Okay.
It suggested different hikes with varying difficulty levels, recommended restaurants near those trails.
Wow.
Even suggested a specific place to stay that had, that cozy cabin vibe.
It's like having a personal AI travel planner in your pocket.
It really is.
That's impressive. What about Gemini? Did it keep up?
Gemini did a good job.
Okay.
With the hikes and the restaurant recommendations, it definitely understood the assignment.
Yeah.
But it didn't suggest a specific place to stay.
Okay.
Just gave general areas where accommodations could be found.
Interesting. So maybe GPT 4.5 is better at anticipating what a user might need.
Yeah.
Even if they don't explicitly ask for it.
Could be.
It's interesting to see how their approaches differ even at this early stage.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what was the next challenge they threw at these AIs?
The next task was a pretty simple one, translating good morning to a few different languages, French, Spanish, and Japanese.
Okay, so a basic language test. I'm guessing they both aced this one.
They did.
Right.
Both models provided the correct translations, which isn't that surprising.
Yeah.
For common phrases like this, there's really no noticeable difference in their abilities.
So they're both multilingual, but can they crack a joke?
Well, that is the true test of AI.
Exactly.
The article did test their comedic skills. They were each asked to tell a joke about artificial intelligence.
All right, let's hear it. What kind of jokes are we talking about here?
GPT 4.5 said, "Why did the AI go to art school? Because it wanted to learn how to draw its own conclusions."
Okay, I'll admit, that's a pretty solid pun.
Yeah, not bad.
What about Gemini? Did it bring the laugh?
Gemini went with this one. "Why did the AI break up with its chatbot girlfriend? Because she kept giving it scripted responses."
Not bad, not bad. I wouldn't say either of them is ready for a stand-up gig.
Yeah, definitely not headlining any comedy clubs.
But they're both capable of at least generating some basic puns.
Yeah, basic humor's there.
It makes you wonder, though, is humor something that can truly be replicated in AI, or does it require a deeper understanding of, human experience and emotion that AI just doesn't have yet?
Right.
That's a really interesting question.
It is a good one, and it's one that the article touches on a bit later. But before we get into that, let's move on to the next challenge. This is where things start to get really interesting.
Ooh, okay. I'm intrigued. Lay it on me. What was the next task?
They asked them for the current weather in Nyack, New York.
Okay. Seems simple enough. A basic weather report. What's so surprising about that?
Well, Gemini provided a straightforward current temperature reading.
Okay.
Which is what you'd expect.
Right.
But GPT 4.5 went above and beyond, provided an hourly forecast for the rest of the day, complete with descriptive images like little sun icons and rain clouds.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
It seems like GPT 4.5 is really trying to anticipate what the user might want to know even if they don't ask for it directly. Is this a pattern we're seeing across the different tasks?
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind as we explore this comparison further.
Okay.
It seems like GPT 4.5 might be more inclined to provide a really comprehensive answer, while Gemini is more focused on giving just the most essential information.
So what does this tell us about their strengths and weaknesses? Is one approach inherently better than the other? Or does it just depend on the specific task and the user's needs?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's something we'll be diving deeper into as we continue our deep dive.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's keep exploring. This comparison is already raising some fascinating questions about these AI models, their capabilities, their limitations.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff.
So let's move on to the next part and see what other insights we can uncover.
Sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go. It's fascinating to see how these different approaches are playing out.
Yeah.
GPT-4.5 is like going above and beyond, giving you all the information, even if you didn't specifically ask for it.
Right.
And then Gemini is kind of sticking to the essentials, giving you just what you need.
Yeah, it's like two different philosophies of AI almost.
Exactly. And it really makes you think about what's more valuable in an AI tool.
Yeah. Do you want it to anticipate your needs and give you everything? Or do you want it to be more concise and just give you the bare minimum?
Yeah, because even when AI gives you a ton of information, we still need to look at it, critically evaluate it, and make our own decisions.
That's a good point. We can't just blindly accept everything that AI tells us, right?
Absolutely. We still need to use our own judgment.
So it's not about AI replacing us. It's more like AI augmenting our own capability.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's about finding ways to use these tools to enhance our own decision-making.
Exactly. And it's a good segue into the article's overall verdict on this whole GPT 4.5 versus Gemini 2.0 Flash showdown.
Okay, drumroll please, who wins?
Well, the article actually concludes that it's a draw.
A draw.
They compare it to choosing between Coke and Pepsi.
Okay.
It really comes down to personal preference.
So even after all these head-to-head comparisons, there's no clear winner?
Not really. It seems like both models have their strengths and weaknesses.
So it really just depends on what you're looking for in an AI tool and how you plan to use it.
Exactly. And I think this brings up an even bigger point about AI in general.
Okay.
It's not about AI replacing us, but about AI augmenting our capabilities. It's about finding ways to use these tools to enhance our own decision-making processes.
I like that perspective. It's not human versus machine. It's more like a collaboration.
Right, to partnership.
And that leads us to... So maybe this AI comparison isn't just about which tool is better. Maybe it's about reminding ourselves what makes us human in the first place.
That's a really great point.
So where does this leave our listener? They've heard all about this AI showdown. What's the key takeaway here for them?
I think the key takeaway is that AI is a rapidly evolving field, but it's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
It's a tool, a powerful tool, but a tool nonetheless. And like any tool, it's only as good as the person wielding it.
So it's not about being replaced by AI. It's about learning how to use these tools effectively and responsibly.
Absolutely. And also remembering to value our own human judgment and decision-making abilities.
We need to be critical thinkers, asking the right questions, evaluating the information we receive,
Right.
and ultimately making our own informed decisions.
Exactly. We can't just let the AI do all the thinking for us.
I think that's a great message to leave our listeners with, but before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your personal thoughts. After diving deep into this comparison, are you more inclined to try Gemini's stick with ChatGPT, or are you still feeling a little skeptical of both?
Honestly, I think it's less about picking a winner and more about, appreciating what each model brings to the table.
Yeah.
Like GPT 4.5's ability to anticipate what you might need and just give you all that information.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. But then Gemini is so concise, and it can work with all these different types of input.
Right. Images, audio, video.
Exactly. It's really exciting stuff. So it really comes down to how you want to use AI.
So there's no one right answer.
No, not at all.
It's all about finding the right tool for the job.
And I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners, too. There's no need to jump on one bandwagon or the other.
Right. It's about exploring and finding what works best for you.
Exactly. And plus, this is just a snapshot of where AI is right now.
Yeah.
Who knows what incredible things are coming next week, next month, next year.
That's what makes it so exciting, right? It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what AI can do.
Totally. But with all this progress, it's important to remember that AI isn't perfect.
Right.
We still need to be careful and think critically.
We can't just blindly trust everything AI tells us.
Exactly. We need to be discerning to evaluate the information and make our own decisions.
It's like they say, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's so true.
We have these amazing tools, but we need to use them wisely.
And ethically.
Exactly.
That's a really important point.
So as you explore the world of AI, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, or whatever comes next, remember to be curious,
Hmm.
but also be critical, and don't be afraid to laugh along the way.
Definitely, because who knows, maybe someday AI will actually be funny.
Haha. Yeah, but until then, we'll just have to keep laughing at the corny jokes.
And maybe try to come up with some better ones ourselves.
Uh-huh, exactly. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been fascinating, and who knows what the future holds for this incredible technology.
The possibilities are endless.
So until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and never stop learning.
See you next time, everyone.